Hey, gang, there are so many important issues to discuss in today's political, cultural, and economic climate, and I can't discuss them all here. In fact, YouTube and big tech won't let me talk about it all here. And that's why I have exclusive, uncensored live streams on Monday nights to cover everything. On Monday nights, I share all my thoughts and answer your questions in an in-depth, casual format that prepares you for this upcoming election with the truth. Today, I want to show you a quick clip from a recent stream that I hope will help you think clearly about these important issues, as well as encourage you to join our movement. Join an upcoming exclusive live stream, and I'll answer your questions by clicking the link in the description below and joining our community of courageous patriots building a parallel economy. I look forward to seeing you over there.
So, Larry Davis wants to know if you think the Irish people will allow their government to take away their free speech rights.
We'll see. I don't know. I hate to say I was encouraged by the riots, but the stabbings were horrible. They were horrific. And I believe what was an Algerian migrant. We'll have to see. Ireland has taken a very hard turn to the left. And as you know, over the last 5 years or so. And I don't know how far gone they are with it, or just how they continue to be enamored by it. But there is no quite what we're seeing now with Colin McGregor and the investigation into him, and just by calling out their insane immigration policies. I mean, this is what you're going to get from the left. You're not allowed to be a nationalist. You're not allowed to be proud of your own unique identity. You're not allowed, unless you're a minority that comes under the rubric of an oppressed minority, right? Victimhood is what's sanctified in this woke nonsense. So right now, it just looks like, looks like they will. I very much hope there is a massive pushback in Ireland. There should be. I think we're seeing that a little bit in Northern Ireland, in the UK, with the rise of Sinn Féin. There's been such a disillusion. Not that Sinn Féin is rightist. In many ways, they're leftist nationalists, but they were outside the mainstream for so long. The mainstream right, mainstream left, inside Irish Republican politics. And what happened in Italy is very similar to what I think is happening in Northern Ireland. Remember, in Italy, their center right and center left first collapsed with a populist left party rising up, which is Five Star, and that created what we call the need for a bootlegger to come in. When the people crave alcohol, but the officials in power have made it illegal, what do? They go to bootleggers to get their alcohol from. When the center-right, center-left globalist parties have said certain issues are illegal, you're not allowed to talk about them, inevitably bootlegging parties or politicians come to power and kick out the center-left and center-right. That's, in effect, what Sinn Féin did. Now, they're on the populist left, but like in Italy, when you had the populist left come to power because their populist right wasn't quite there yet, that created the momentum, the populist momentum, for a populist right party to rise up and take over from the populist left party. So, I mean, Five Star barely gets, I think, 11% of the vote now, whereas George Meloni's Brothers of Italy, and combined with Lega and Forza Italia, which has become much, much more nationalist populist right, they're collectively getting upwards of 50% of their coalition, their parliament. You only need 40% in Italy to have the majority, as it were, because it's a multi-party system. So, we'll see. We'll see if the Republic of Ireland can do something comparable and kind of reawaken its politics in such a way that breaks the center left's globalist control over their politics.
Mike C. asks, what impact will the newly released J6 videos have on the 2024 landscape?
But first, how many UFC fans do we have out there? We know that the one and only Donald Trump is a huge UFC fan, as are the fighters of him. But have you ever wondered what they do to manage their pain?
Well, you don't have to, because a fellow patriot and good friend to this channel is precisely the one who provides relief to that pain, and he's here to do the same for you. You know, gang, as we age, aches and pains we think of are normal, but they don't have to be. And that's where the groundbreaking medical scientist Clint Winters comes in. You've seen Clint on Fox. You've seen him on this channel. He's a world-renowned health expert who's unveiled a natural pain reliever that's taking the world by storm. It's called ConoCB2. It's the 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous meds, and it's the official pain reliever for the fighters in the UFC. And the best news, ConoCB2 has no documented side effects after years of private testing. It's absolutely the future of relief. So whatever you do, make sure to click on that link below and check out Clint's amazingly informative report on how ConoCB2 is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at a fraction of the cost of pain pills. Click on that link below right now.
I think it'll continue the process of delegitimation of our governmental institutions, particularly the three-letter agencies, the Justice Department and the like. So we are going, as scholars recognize, we're going through a crisis of what's called legitimation. Legitimation is the foundation for a functioning state, a functioning government. The state is able to operate only to the extent that the vast majority of the people ascribe to it trust and confidence. And when you look back in the polls in the 1960s, early 60s, 63, 64, 70% of the United States voting population believed that their government institutions and their public institutions in general were run for the benefit and welfare for the majority of the nation. Today, that number is imploded to 10%. 90% of people in the United States believe that the government and our public institutions operate for the benefit and the welfare of the privileged, of the permanent political class, at the expense of the people. Europe is somewhat similar. You have it different. Again, I haven't seen the studies within the last couple of years since Germany's latest debacle with Olaf Scholz and the Green Party in power. But when Merkel was in power, Germans had the highest level of trust in their government. French had one of the, and Italians had one of the lowest levels in their government. This is when the Italians had their center leftist government in power. So on average, Europeans are 70% distrustful of their government institutions, public institutions. So that's delegitimation. That's the process. And just ask the Soviet Union what happens when enough people no longer recognize the legitimation of their government. You know, it implodes, and we're moving in that direction. And I think the J6 tapes just further eroded any semblance of remaining legitimation.
So let's talk a little bit about Israel and Hamas. Lots of questions here about this. John Bavander says, what do you think Israel can do to avoid a larger war with the 622 million Muslims in the Middle East and still be able to destroy Hamas?
So the Arab League, the Arab Summit, I should say, that gathered together in Riyadh a couple of weeks back was very instructive, very, very instructive. I mean, we're talking the entire Arab world gathered together, as well as Persian, because the president, what is it, Raisi of Iran was there as well. I mean, you had everybody. You had Mohammed bin Salman. You had who's basically become sort of the de facto leader of a Sunni civilizational world, and he's showing himself to be incredibly sophisticated in his decision making and his policies. They came together, and rather than threaten war, which is what they would have done 10 years ago, that's what the Arabs would have done. You know, they would have threatened Israel. This is, you know, we're going to band together. And instead of that, there was not a single talk of war. There was not a single talk of military retribution or action. There was not a single talk of economic retribution against Israel. They came together and they put forward what they believed to be was the best path to peace, permanent peace, between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And it was basically the fleshing out of the two-state solution But with their support of Israel, were they to agree, they would recognize Israel. That the Abraham Accords that Trump oversaw at the beginning of his, his 2017 administration were brilliant. I mean, he brought Israel together. He brought Saudi Arabia together. I mean, the rapprochement between just Israel and Saudi Arabia was a stunning act of diplomatic achievement for Trump, and we're still reaping the rewards, God bless him, for that. The very fact that all of these, and then of course China helped the rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia, that the State Department and CIA have been they've been fostering the sectarian divisions between them ever since. China said, no, it's a new world. It's a traditionalist, civilizationalist world. Let's work together. Let's stop it with the animosity. So they came out and they put forward a plan for peace. Again, you could say it's not tenable, whatever, but it was so different than the Middle East of 10 years ago, where they would have gathered together and threatened Israel. Instead, they came, to their credit, and said, it's time for peace. So I've had Douglas McGregor on. This was before the Arab meeting. Erdogan in Turkey was talking very, very tough against Israel. But apparently that's pretty much all Erdogan does, is he just talks. Not too many geopolitical figures are taking him seriously. McGregor does, but not too many others do. Iran has made it clear they don't want a war. Hezbollah in Lebanon has made it clear they do not want war. The entire Arab world has made it clear maybe it's time for a post-Hamas Palestine. They find Hamas to be very akin to an ISIS. ISIS via Abu al-Zarqawi in Iraq. He was an Al-Qaeda member. He was in charge of the Iraq, resurgence against insurrection against American troops after the fall of Saddam Hussein, and he turned his chapter of Iraq into ISIS. Okay, so he's the first one. That would have been ISI back then, or just simply the Islamic State over Iraq. It eventually made its way, thanks to Obama, into Syria and his attempt to try to get rid of Assad. So they see Hamas, in a sense, as I understand it, akin to the way Al-Qaeda sees ISIS. You're breaking away, you're radically extremist, and you're not a team player anymore. You're doing your own thing. And I don't know how much support they have among the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. That's more or less where Hamas began, where the Muslim Brotherhood came into among the Palestinians. So I think that means that Israel has the opportunity of being able to take out Hamas, if it even has to diplomatically. There's a possibility that there could be pressure brought to bear among the Palestinian population and among their political administration and forming administrations, if a two-state solution does start to form, that Hamas would be excluded. And that way they might be able to be eradicated. The bombings, the death toll that is being exploited among the Arab populace as signs of Israeli excess and a totally disproportionate response. I don't necessarily understand or get or ascribe to that argument. That's just what they're saying. That is resonating with the Arab world. So we'll have to see where that goes. But right now, I'm actually breathing a very big sigh of relief from what I saw coming out of Riyadh, and the commitment that even countries like Iran have to try to bring stability and peace to the region. Because Russia doesn't want war. China certainly doesn't want war. None of them wants the war to escalate. So that's good. It looked scary in the first few weeks. It looked real. Everybody was talking tough and big, like Erdogan in Turkey. But that seems to have de-escalated. And now we're really seeing some very impressive diplomatic efforts. Interestingly enough, without the United States. This is a post-U.S. Middle East which fits perfectly with what we've been talking about with the rise of civilization states and reterritorialization. Very, very fascinating stuff. I hope you enjoyed that clip of my Monday night Insiders Club live stream. Join us live next week by clicking on the link in the description below and joining the coalition of patriots worldwide building a parallel economy to return to our roots of faith, family, and freedom. Click below right now.